Right guys, here we go. Welcome along to another of my course vlogs here at my home course, Freshwater Bay. It has been a while though since we've had a course vlog on the channel here, and there's a few reasons behind that which we'll get into as the round unfolds. The tees are playing a little bit further forward at the moment. We've took a 9-9 here into the green to get the round underway, and as you'll notice throughout the course of this round, nice weather, paragliders are up, so obviously there is quite a bit of wind out there still, but it was a very lovely time of the day to be getting a round of golf in. Teed off about 5 o'clock, so it's a bit of a twilight round, and we start things off with a par. As we move on to hole 2, par 4, 3 wood off the tee, smash it down the middle. It is a low bullet of a shot. It did actually go into the centre of the fairway, but on this particular hole it all feeds down to the right hand side, and so we've ended up here just short of the 150 marker. 156 yard carry there with a 7 iron. Puts us on the green. I did actually hit that left into the bank because that's the play here. You're dead to the right, you're always better off being on the left hand side, and especially in this weather. As we can see, I was quite pleased with that putt, because obviously it's so baked out there that you do get a rather large kick. And there we go, back-to-back pars just to kick things off here in this round. So here we go, hole 3, the par 3, downhill, 161 yards. I've actually got a pitch and wedge in hand because, as I say, because it's baked, you don't really want to get on this particular green because it slopes away from front to back, which means that anything that gets on the green is going through the back unless you've got a very, very steep angle coming into the green. So a little chip there down onto the green with the gap wedge, and we've got a sneaky little putt here, about 7 foot I'd say, and it slides on by the hole. Gives us a tricky knee knocker on the way back as well. You see the flag blowing now in the in that shot, just showing that the wind is up at the moment. It's not too bad. Certainly not the 40-mile-an-hour winds that we get in the winter, but it is obviously around and about. And because this was a bit of an impromptu round, getting out a bit later in the evening, I've only got the one camera with me, my GoPro, which is affixed to the trolley. I might get it out a little bit later in the round just to get on some of the tees, but aside from that, obviously we're going to have some wide-angled shots for some of the rounds, which I think will serve the purpose and show you where I am in terms of my game at the moment. As I mentioned, I am kind of changing some things in my swing, and I've been playing a lot of comps recently, so that's really the reason as to why you've not seen any of the course vlogs as of late. Oh, big lip out there. Yeah, as you can see, I'm not too happy with that one, but I obviously put too much on it because it was quite a big lip out. But we will tidy it up for the bogey nonetheless and move on to hole 5. So hole 5, if you've seen my course vlogs of the past, this is pretty much has been a bogey hole for me in many ways, because I always pull it left. And one of the things that I've been trying desperately to deal with on this particular hole is trying to deal with alignment, and I'm finally thinking that I'm getting close to that, and we're just short here right. Last few times I've played here I have been on the green, so we've got this tricky little chip onto the green, because the problem that you've got, as you can see from this particular angle, is that behind the flag there's a big drop off, and obviously if I carried that pitch a little bit too far, we could have been off the back of the edge of the green. So just take the opportunity here to lag that one up to the hole, and we'll be in for another bogey. So here we are, hole 6, hardest hole on the course, stroke index 1, and yep, you can see it. Look at the slope on this particular fairway. You have to go right. because everything feeds down to the left anyway, especially in these conditions, because the ball just rolls right out. So as you can see here, I'm down behind the 150 marker, 6 iron in hand, and I'm just trying to get it on up there. It's probably paying more like 180 to be honest, and that's why I had 6 iron. I managed to get it up just shy of the green here, and those who've seen my vlogs before will know that chipping from this distance is sort of my clutch play, and it certainly nearly was here. Very, very close to getting ourselves a bird there, but we will take the par and move on. So here we are on hole 7, and because it's obviously a little bit later in the evening and there's a public access through the centre of the course, some people were up there on that mound. Now, clipping one really well, I can get to there, so I did have to wait for them to clear there, and we do hit one away, 3 wood. This is one of the new clubs in the bag. This is the Taylormade Stealth Rocket 13.5 degrees that I'm using, and this is another of the new clubs in my bag. I've got a Taylormade Sim Max 2.7 wood, which has become a very useful tool in my bag, as you'll see throughout the course of this round. So here we are, green side, chipping on, soft hands, 60-degree wedge, and we do have another putt for par. Now, just to prove that there's no tampering going on with this particular round, you'll notice that on most occasions here, I'm just going to fast forward the footage so that you can see that, you know, I'm taking the shots and not doing any editing or any kind of the malarkey that I might be that might be suggested that I were doing if I wasn't showing all of the footage. So we're in for another par. Really good play on that hole. And for the people that might have seen this film recently, I don't think that cloud moved for the 5 minutes that I was stood here waiting on the tee. Par 4, hole 8. We've got the Stealth in hand again, looking over the top of those 2 mounds in the distance. But unfortunately, it's the first real poor drive of the day. Just scuttle it down the channel there about 100 yards. And then get the 7 wood out to get us back into play, 200 yards down the fairway. Great shot with the 7 wood. That's really become my clutch club as of late, and this was a bit more downwind than I actually anticipated there. 112 yards that ended up flying. I had gap wedge in hand, and we've then took the gap wedge again from here to chip it in, and we've left ourselves with rather a tricky putt here for bogey. Just lagging it up there. Was kind of hoping we could get that to drop, and that is the first double on the card, unfortunately, but not bad up until this point, we have to say. Hole 9, par 4, again tricky in these conditions because of the way that the ball is going to move from left to right on the slope. So I am aiming down the left hand side towards the footpath, and it does actually take a wicked kick off the path down to the right hand side, but nonetheless it leaves us with just a wedge in hand, and it's a decent shot, 100 yards towards the green, front pin. Rare position actually for that pin on this particular green, and we lag the putt on up there, and yep, you guessed it, we're going to get out with another par. So there we go, having scurried through those first 9 holes, we've got out of it pretty much unscathed at only 5 over par with 5 pars on the card. Really happy with that. Felt like I played exceptionally well through the front 9, and obviously we'll just try to improve as we go throughout the back of the round as well. Right, hole 10, 306 yards from the yellow tees. We've got the 7 wood in hand here, because it's more about placement, because there's a bunker down the left hand side. Ideally want to squirt this a bit down the right hand side, because the bunker could be in play if you take the wrong kind of angle at it, and unfortunately I've pulled this a bit left, but it does manage to just clear the bunker. So we've hit that 180. We've got about 125, I think, from memory to the green, and I really should have took pitch and wedge, but I was trying to push a gap wedge, and we've ended up just short right. So flick on here with the wedge. As you can see the paragliders in the distance. Nice lag put up. You hope that those kind of putts drop, but you know there's always going to be that little push one way or another, and we end up with a bogey there. Sorry about the cameras, obviously, because I'm only with the GoPro. It doesn't quite adjust to these light conditions in the way that I would normally find my iPhone does. So we are struggling a bit going back towards the clubhouse with this particular type of light. Uphill 205-yard drive I'm really happy with, and then we really give this 7-wood a wallop, 189 yards, and just a wedge again into this green, and we're in regulation and putting for birdie. Really would be nice here to get ourselves on the birdie train, certainly on a par 5, but I'm more than happy to be here in regulation, putting for birdie, and just having a small tap in for par. Really good work there on the first par 5 on the back 9. Second par 5 back to back here, 499 yards. There's a bunker, or 2 bunkers should I say, in the centre of the fairway, but more recently I've been squirting down the left hand side, whereas previously when I've played with other people at this course, they've suggested that you should really try and play it wide right, but that kind of for me brings in a bit of a slice, and you can tend to be on the opposite fairway, coming back in the opposite direction. So I've started coming down this side instead. Moving into the 7-wood again, 180 yard punt down, and again we've got just a wedge in hand here as we look to get on this green in regulation as well. 106 yards for that one, and once again we are there in regulation with a birdie putt, and once again we've done exceptionally well with that first putt. And that leaves us with a short putt here to tap in for par. Happy with that one with a fist bump. Here we are, hole 13. Downhill, 312 yards. I can get close if I hit a really good drive here, but I've got the 3-wood in hand. This is my high lofted 3-wood, and unfortunately I do not connect well. In fact, it was pretty much a top. So here we are with a 7-wood, looking to recover from 240 yards to the flag. I know I'm not going to actually get it onto the green, but I do know that I can get it on down there, and it turned out rather well, as does this little pitch shot into the green. Landed really nice on the left hand side and let it roll on down towards the flag. Does leave us a little work to do, but not the longest putt that we'll have ever made. And there we go, tap it in for the par. Another fist bump to really cement how we're playing at the moment as we move on to the drop. Par 3, it's about 40 yards downhill, if not further, this particular hole. So although it says 173 yards from the yellows, it's actually more like about 140 yards. And I've hit an 8 iron here, and I hit the flag. And yeah, unfortunately I didn't have the footage of it because I couldn't get the camera high enough, but yeah, when you're having a round, you're having a round. And this was one of those, and it's going to be another par here. So there we go, 4 pars back to back, and we have another par 3. Sorry about the camera angle here, just didn't quite turn it quite enough, but you can see me off to the right hand side here. We've got the 6 iron in hand, and it was a lovely strike, if I'm honest. Just over the lip of the bunker on the right hand side, and it feathers its way down the channel just off short of the green. So we take the gap wedge, trusty club here, as we pitch it onto the green, and we've left ourselves with a little bit of work to do for the putt, but again not the longest one that we'll ever face. sweeping away some of the remnants of what the crows have been doing there to the green. Unfortunately, we got some leather jackets on the greens, and the crows come along and try and peck those out, so it does leave some grass to be discarded. And there we go, we've got another par. That is 5 back to back. Unbelievable. Right, hole 16, out of bounds all down the right hand side. You've got the bailout on the left hand side, a very slender fairway over the bunkers down the right hand fairway, and unfortunately that is probably one of the worst drives I've hit today, and we've ended up down in this depression. I've got a 9-iron in hand, which wouldn't be enough to get there, but I know that the flag's on the top tier, and to land it in that space is almost impossible, so I needed to come up short anyway and give myself an angle into the flag, which is what I did. But unfortunately we've just flew it just a little bit too far, and we are going to have a chip from off the green here. And again, just not quite enough juice. Scared though of the slope that's in behind the flag, because if you get on that drop off, you can just see that Mackenzie there. It's quite a way away, to be honest, on this particular pin position. But if you did overhit it or blade it, then you do bring it into play. And unfortunately, head in the sky there, as we know that this is going to end up being another double bogey, but only the second of the round. Astonishing scenes. This is turning out to be quite the round. I don't know at this point how good a round it is, because I don't keep score as I'm going. I just put my scores down, and I don't add them up. This camera angle actually shows, I think, probably the best that I've ever shown how much slope is involved in this particular shot, because it's quite a ways up there. Take a 7-iron into the flag, and it was right at it. Unfortunately, it's finished up just beyond. It pitched just short of the green, and rolled on through. But we've got put here from just off the edge on the fringe. It's one of those difficult ones where you can't quite get the pace right, because you're coming off of a different surface to what you're putting onto. I think I should have took more time over the putt, if I'm being honest, and so I take a little bit more time here just assessing and trying to get this putt close to the hole, if not in, which is this is an uphill putt now. The camera kind of flattens it out, but it is more uphill than it looks, and we are going to end up tapping that in for a bogey. Right, so here we are, last hole of the day, downhill, par 4, into the sun, which is not going to make life easy trying to keep an eye on the ball, but we will do our best regardless. Got the stealth in hand, and it was a bit over the top, that hit, left to right. I've been hitting a draw all day, and that one certainly wasn't a draw, and we've ended up down in the right hand rough. I actually thought we'd made the dip to start with, but I went back and found it on the right hand side. So this is from a position in front of the ball. I took a 9-iron into the green. We had about 125 yards left in, and I just basically chipped over a 9-iron. And as you see, I don't want anybody to think that I'm having a round where I'm editing something together, because I knew at this point that something special was happening. I didn't know quite how special this score was, if I'm being honest, and I probably would have took more time over this putt had I really thought about where I was in terms of scoring. And as you'll see, I try to lag this one up, and it's not quite my best putt of the day, if I'm being honest. Left us with quite a lot of work to do here to get in for the par. Not outside the realms of possibility though, but it does drift off to the right, and it is going to end the round with a bogey. Having said that, here is the back 9 score. We managed a 40 coming in, which is only 5 over par, so we are 10 over for the round, and that is a 78. I've only gone and broke 80 for the first time, and like I say, it was an impromptu round. I was extremely relaxed, and that was probably part and parcel of what was going on. I think it was a culmination of several conditions that has led to this point, because my golf has been improving steadily over the course of the last couple of months whilst I haven't been doing the vlogs. I've been playing a lot with a society group. I have been playing in several competitions as of late, which I think elevates your golf in many ways, and also played in an away game for the club's team the day before this actual round, and I think that kind of gave me more incentive, because I played against some very good players and didn't really feel, aside from the start of that round, that I was really like a fish out of water or anything. I played really, really well. So there we go. All I can say is we've broke 80. Unbelievable, considering the short period of time since I've started playing golf again. And previously, when I used to play golf back in my teens, I'm now just into my 40s, and I wouldn't have even envisaged breaking 90 back then. That was the standard of golf that I was playing at that particular time. Obviously, there's been a really big improvement in the technical aspect of my game, but I think one of the big things that I would take away from getting to this point is that the mental aspect of golf is so important and often overlooked. Personally, I would highly recommend Bob Rotella's books. Obviously, in particular, Golf is Not a Game of Perfect, but perhaps more importantly, and the book that I've read only last week, and I've actually read it cover to cover, is Your 15th Club. I think that book just spoke to me in a certain way and has helped me to apply the mental aspects of the game that were perhaps a little bit missing in the past. And don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting to go out and shoot a sub 80 every single time I play golf now, because that certainly isn't going to happen. But I've proven that it is possible. And as you can see from this round, there was still a few drives that really weren't up to scratch. I missed a few putts, I had a lip out, but on top of that I did have some luck along the way. So all in all, I'm completely and utterly gobsmacked that I've managed to break 80. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm probably going to do a what's in the bag, if anybody's interested in that, just to go through my thought processes now on the way in which that I'm using and setting up my bag, and really go through what I've taken out of the bag as well to get to the point that I'm at, because I'm not at the full 14 clubs either, which is quite an interesting topic to discuss, I think. But if you have enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's see if we can go break 80 again.